Hi, this is Dr. Gitanjali Parekh, and today I'm going to talk to you about panic disorder. What is panic disorder? Well, panic disorder is like an anxiety tornado, you can say so, a whirlpool. Now, it strikes suddenly, wreaks havoc, and disappears. In contrast to generalized anxiety disorder, which involves chronic tension and anxiety, panic disorder occurs suddenly, unpredictably, and they are much more intense in nature. So that's what differentiate between a panic disorder and an anxiety disorder. Panic disorder is characterized by discrete episodes of acute anxiety accompanied by a feeling of impending doom, like something very bad is going to happen. For every one person in 75 with this disorder, anxiety suddenly escalates into a terrifying panic attack. A minutes long episode of intense fear that something horrible is about to happen. The intense fear may vary from several attacks during a day to a few attacks during a year. So it's not definite like okay. In some cases, it might be as few, just few cases, few attacks in a year, while in others it might be very intense or very severe. The person may have a few attacks in a day, during which the patient reports heart palpitation, shortness of breath, choking sensations, trembling, or dizziness, which may be misperceived as a heart attack or other serious physical ailment. Smokers have at least a double risk of panic disorder because nicotine is a stimulant, right? So that's the main reason it's much more severe in the smokers. Panic attacks usually occurs out of blue and is in the absence of any identifiable stimulus. There is no stimulus to it, but there is a panic to it. Now, it is this unpredictable quality that makes panic attacks so mysterious and terrifying to their victims. About 60% of people with daytime panic disorders also experience attacks during their sleep. Their symptoms awakens them and they fear that they are dying. Many people who suffer recurrent panic attacks develop agoraphobia, an aversion to public places because they fear that they will have an attack in public. In extreme cases, they may fear leaving the familiar setting of the home, and some have been known to remain housebound for years at time because of the fear, not because of anything else, but they fear that they will happen. An example of panic disorder is when a woman recalled suddenly she felt hot and as though she could not breathe. Her heart was racing and she started sweating and trembling and was sure she felt she was going to faint. Felt numbness and tingling in her fingers, and things seemed unreal. It was so bad that she wondered if she was dying and asked her husband to take her to the emergency room. By the time she got there, it just took around 10 minutes or so, the worst of the attack was over and she felt she was just washed out. Now we go on to the epidemiology. The lifetime prevalence of panic disorder is in 1 to 4% range, with 6 months prevalence approximately 0.5 to 1% and 3 to 5.6% for panic attacks. Women are more affected than the men. They are 2 to 3 times more as such. The onset is usually in early third decade with often a chronic course. The panic attacks occur recurrently every few days. Now, there may or may not be an underlying generalized anxiety disorder. As far as the comorbidity is concerned, of the patients with panic disorder, 91% of the at least have one psychiatric disorder. So it is only in 9% cases the person has just panic disorder. Otherwise, in 91% cases, they have at least another psychiatric disorder. About one third of persons with panic disorders have major depressive disorder before onset. About two thirds first experience panic disorder during or after the onset of major depression. Other disorders also commonly occur in persons with panic disorder. Of persons with panic disorder, 15 to 30% also have social anxiety disorder or social phobia. 2 to 20% have specific phobia. 15 to 30% have generalized anxiety disorder. 2 to 10% have post traumatic stress disorder or the PTSD. And up to 30% people they had OCDs, that is obsessive compulsive disorder. Other common comorbid conditions are hypochondriasis or illness anxiety disorder, personality disorder, and substance related disorders. What are the causes or what's the etiology behind this panic disorder? Well, there are various factors involved in it. One such factor is biological factors. Researchers on the biological basis of panic disorder has produced a range of findings. One interpretation is that the symptoms of panic disorder are related to a range of biological abnormalities in the brain structure and function. Considerable evidence indicates that abnormal regulation of brain norendogenic system is also involved in the pathophysiology of panic disorder. The autonomic nervous system of some patients with panic disorder have been reported to exhibit increased sympathetic tone, to adapt slowly to repeated stimuli, and to respond excessively to moderate stimuli. The major neurotransmitter systems that have been implicated are those of norepinephrine, serotonin, and GABA. Serotonergic dysfunction is quite evident in panic disorder, and various studies with mixed serotonin agonist antagonist drugs have demonstrated increased rates of anxiety. Structural brain imaging studies, for example, the MRI in patients with panic disorders, have implicated pathological involvement in the temporal lobes, particularly the hippocampus amygdala. Now we go on to the genetic factors. Various studies have found that the first degree relatives of patients with panic disorder have a 4 to 8 fold higher risk of panic disorder than first degree relatives of other psychiatric patients. The twin studies conducted to date have generally reported that monozygotic twins are more likely to be concordant for panic disorder than the dizygotic twins. The next we have is the psychosocial factors. Psychoanalytical theories conceptualize panic attacks as arising from an unsuccessful defense against anxiety provoking impulses. Now, what was previously a mild signal, anxiety becomes an overwhelming feeling of apprehension, complete with somatic symptoms. Many patients describe panic attacks as coming out of the blue, as though no psychological factors were involved. But psychodynamic exploration frequently reveals a clear psychological trigger for the panic attack. Although panic attacks are correlated with neurophysiologically with the locus coeruleus, the onset of panic is generally related to environmental or psychological factors. Patients with panic disorders have a higher incidence of stressful life events, particularly losses. Moreover, the patients typically experience greater distress about life events than others in the population. Now we go on to the diagnosis part. So, according to the fifth Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder, that is DSM-5, the diagnostic criteria for panic disorder are A. The recurrent unexpected panic attacks. A panic attack is an abrupt surge of intense fear or intense discomfort that reaches a peak within minutes and during which time 4 or more of the following symptoms occur. Note the abrupt surge may occur from a calm state or an anxious state. Palpitation, that is pounding heart or an accelerated heart rate, sweating, trembling or shaking, sensations of shortness of breath or smothering, feelings of choking, chest pain or discomfort, nausea or abdominal distress, feeling dizzy, unsteady, lightheaded or faint, chills or heat sensations, paresthesia, that is the numbness or tingling sensation, derealization, feeling of unreality, or depersonalization, being detached from oneself, fear of losing control or going crazy, fear of dying. Note that the cultural specific symptoms, example tinnitus, neck soreness, headache, uncontrollable screaming or crying, may be seen. Such symptoms should not count as one of the four required symptoms. B. At least one of the attacks have been followed by 1 month or more of one or both of the following. Persistent concern or worry about additional panic attacks or their consequences, that is, example, losing control, having a heart attack, going crazy. Significant maladaptive change in behavior related to the attacks, example, behaviors designed to avoid having panic attacks, such as avoidance of exercise or unfamiliar situations. The disturbance is not attributable to the physiological effects of substance, example, a drug of abuse or medication. So they do not attribute or to any of these things, or another medical conditions, example, hypothyroidism, cardiopulmonary disorders. The disturbance is not better explained by another mental disorder. Example, the panic attacks do not occur only in response to feared social situation as in social anxiety disorder, but in response to circumscribed phobic objects or situations. In response to obsessions as in obsessive compulsive disorder, in response to reminders of traumatic events as in post-traumatic stress disorder, or in response to separation from attachment figures as in separation anxiety disorder. Now we go on to the treatment part. The two most effective treatments are pharmacotherapy and cognitive behavioral therapy. Family and group therapy may also help the affected patients and their families adjust to the patient disorder and to the psychosocial difficulties that the disorder may have precipitated. Pharmacotherapy, now it is useful to begin the treatment of panic disorder with small doses of antidepressants. Usually they are the SSRIs, example of fluoxetine, benzodiazepines such as the alprazolam and the clonazepams. They are useful in short-term treatment of both generalized anxiety and panic disorder. However, tolerance and dependence potential limits the use of these drugs. Now we go on to the cognitive and behavioral therapies. The two major foci of cognitive therapy are panic disorders, are instruction about the patient's false beliefs and information about the panic attacks. The instruction about false beliefs centers on the patient's tendency to misinterpret mild bodily sensation as indicative impending panic attacks, dooms, or death. The information about panic attacks includes explanation that when panic attacks occur, they are time limited and not life threatening. So that was all about the panic disorder. Hope you liked it and enjoyed it. And thanks for listening to it. And if in case you are interested or you enjoy reading also, it's there on my blog also, that I've just added in the description, added the link to it. And if you have any queries or any comments to make, you can just add on to it. Thank you very much.